Welcome to the WP Toolkit Ultimate Ads plugin tutorial video. We're going to follow the standard WordPress plugin installation process. We're already logged into our WordPress admin dashboard, so we simply choose Plugins, Add New, then choose the Upload Plugin button at the top, then choose the Choose File button. It opens a browser window on a desktop. We specify the zip file, which is WP Toolkit-ultimateads.zip. Click on Open, and then click on Install Now, and it'll take a second or two to install that plugin to our WordPress blog. And once it's finished installing, we simply click on the button to activate the plugin to make sure that it now appears in our admin menu on the left hand side here. And there we go. As you can see, if I scroll on down, we've got WP Toolkit Ultimate Ads. And you can see we have the 4 different types of ads available to us as separate menu options under the Ultimate Ads plugin. Let's start with the theme ads. So here we are on the theme ads menu page, and I'm simply going to scroll down a little bit so you can see more of the settings. And one of the things you'll hopefully notice as I go through the tutorials for the different areas of the plugin is that we keep the settings simple and mostly self-explanatory. We're not trying to turn this into an overcomplicated, over-sophisticated plugin. What we need to achieve can be done quite simply, and we want to make sure that you don't need to be some sort of techie in order to be able to get the most out of this plugin. So the first option is quite simply the number of ads that you want to use. In this case, I've got 3. If I changed it to 5, you'll notice that suddenly we've got 5 ad widgets across here instead of just 3. Now I'll pop it back to 3. Then you have the number of ads that you're going to show per page. So for instance, on the home page, in amongst your initial posts, how many ads do you want intermingled with those posts? Now generally we've found that 2 or 3 ads mixed in tends to be about the right number, but it does depend on the format of your theme and how many posts you're actually displaying per page. So for instance, if on the home page you've got say a dozen or more posts being displayed, then you may want maybe 4, maybe 5 ads shown rather than just 2 or 3. Then we have the number of posts that you want to appear before any ads are displayed. Now I've got this set for between 3 and 5 to vary it a little bit. Basically here you probably don't want an ad showing up as the very first post or the second. Let people see some content first and then mix in your ads. Then we have the choice of whether you want the ads shown randomly or in the order of which the tabs appear, so the order in which you set them up across these tabs. Now in order can be very useful if you want the ads to flow in a certain way, to run through a sequence of ads, but mostly I tend to go for random just to mix it up a little bit. Next we have the ad width and ad height. Now this allows you to tweak the settings so that the width and height of your ad fits in with the posts displayed on your home page, so that they fit in the same sort of way and blend in. You want them to look as close as possible to your normal post format so that they blend in and people feel that they are actually content. That usually results in a higher click-through rate. But do bear in mind, you can mix it up. You could have some ads that are quite obviously ads, a big banner and an offer, and then have some more covert style ads that fit in with the format of your posts and look like content. And for the ad widgets themselves, you have the title and then you have the content, and this can be pretty much whatever you want. As I say, it could just be a banner, an image, but usually it's best to have an image and some text, something that fits in with the format of your other posts. This is a good example where I've got the image, which is a banner in fact at the top, and then a little bit of text afterwards, and no title in this one, but vary it up and have a look at what it looks like mixed in with your posts. And yes, you can use standard HTML formats such as header 1, paragraph, bold, center, things like that, underline, all the standard sort of settings that you'd use. If you're not familiar with HTML coding like that, don't worry, you can just grab an image that is the same size as your post format and just link to that. Okay, having said that we like to keep our plugins really simple and easy to use, this is the bit that is for techies. Now, for most people, all you need to do is make sure you've got post in here. That's just to make sure that the particular format of the ads fits with your posts. That's a class within WordPress. The rest of this, do not worry about unless you are a techie with CSS skills and knowledge. In that case, you'll know what you can do with this, and you can do an awful lot with it. So play around with it. Feel free to do so if you know what you're doing. If not, don't worry about it. Ignore it apart from putting post in the post classes, okay? And then simply click on Save Ads, and your theme ads are up and running. And if we pop over to the home page of my live test blog, you can see if I scroll down, here's an example of one of those theme ads appearing mixed in with my content and my posts. And if I scroll down, there's another one, that very basic text one. Again, you can have as many of these as you want. Play around with the format, get them to mold in and mimic your posts, or to stand out as ads, whichever you prefer. And again, we'd actually recommend having a bit of a mix, so you get the best of both worlds. Okay, let's go back to our WordPress admin dashboard and have a look at the ad bar settings. And the first setting is quite simply whether the ad bar is active, whether it's being displayed live on your site or not. Okay, let's scroll on down a bit further, and you can see that we have quite a lot of space for the actual setup of our action bar, and you have a HTML editor with the visual view or the text view where you can actually get into the code. Now, the important bit here is you do have plenty of room, and you can put pretty much whatever you want in here. So for instance, if you wanted to put a countdown timer in here, you could. If you want to put an actual ad in here, you could. Generally, to keep it effective, the best option is usually some sort of attention grabbing bar, just to grab people's eyeballs and get them to click on that bar. But basically, we wanted to make sure that you have the option of playing around with this and experimenting with it. If you do come up with any novel ways of using it that are particularly effective, please feel free to let us know. We love hearing feedback about our plugins and how they're put into use by our users. Okay, so let's walk through the rest of the settings. First up, we have the background color for the bar. If you click on here, it brings up a full color chart, so you can actually choose by moving this around anywhere on this, grab whatever color. There are some basic standard ones, popular ones at the bottom, but you've got a slider. You can basically pick any type, any color that you want. And it's got the hex reference number in here as well, so you can use that if you have a predefined color that you want to use. Basically, once you've chosen it, click on select color and it appears here as a sample. Then we have the delay setting. This is basically the number of seconds that will pass before the action bar pops up when someone visits our page, our front page, our individual post, wherever we're displaying the action bar. Then you've got the option to choose whether to allow a visitor to be able to close the action bar down or not. If you choose yes, then a little close button will appear in the top right hand corner of the bar itself. I'm going to leave mine as no, so it's always on page. And if you do give them the option to close the action bar down, then you can decide how many hours it is before that same visitor gets displayed the action bar again. So for instance, you could set it to a day, 24 hours, you could set it to a week, however long you want. Now the next option, hours before reshow, defines how long before that same visitor gets to see the action bar again if they go to a different page. So for instance, at the moment I got it to 0, so every time they open up a new page, the action bar is going to appear. Alternatively, you could set it to not reappear to that same visitor no matter how many pages they go to for another hour or another 2 hours. Again, giving you control of how often your action bar pops up. Then you have the option to control which pages, posts and categories the action bar actually pops up on. So at the moment I've got it set up for everywhere, but I could change it to just the front page, or I could change it to individual pages or individual categories. I could even put in the post IDs for individual posts and have it only appear on those. And under categories, I have the option for it to appear on the category page and the posts within the category, or just one or the other. So we've got a lot of scope as to where the action bar is going to appear, to make sure that it fits in with exactly when you want to put that in front of your visitors. Now I'm actually going to change this back to everywhere, and I'm going to scroll down and click on Save Settings. Okay, so next let's look at the pop-up messenger. And again, the first setting is whether the pop-up is actually active and running on your site or not. Now let's scroll down a little bit more. Now you may want to play around with the 3 different versions here for the different messengers to see which gets the best results for you, for your site, for that particular niche. It can vary. Generally I find Facebook the best, but some niches definitely, the younger ones tend to be better with WhatsApp, and Skype tends to work better on business-based sites. So you've got all three options, and you've got three different sizes that you can use. Obviously, if you change the size, you are then going to have to change the actual text and stuff that you've got in the box below. We'll have a look at that in a moment. And as we choose the different formats, you can see the actual format of the ad itself, the pop-up changes. So again, you need to just make some edits in the edit box down here, which we'll look at in a second. And again, I'm just going to scroll down a bit so we can see some more. Now, the first option here is the from name. In the box here, and I've just got from Joe Blogs. Now, before you decide on that, what you're going to use there, have a think about the niche that you're in, your target market, who your visitors are, that sort of thing before you come up with a name. For instance, if it was a site that was to do with plumbing or home DIY, something like that, I'd probably use the name Dave, for instance. If on the other hand it was a parenting site or something specifically more female, maybe a beauty site, then I'm going to want to use a woman's name and something again that fits in with the theme, maybe Delilah. Okay, so don't just bung anything in there. Give it a few minutes thought as to who you're likely to be targeting with this ad, and try and come up with a name that resonates for that particular model visitor. And as for the actual message format itself, you have again a full HTML editor, so you can do whatever you want with this. We've got the visual editor with all the standard formats available. You can even click on the text option and dig down into the code itself. For instance, you'll see that the actual link that I have here is hard-coded in, and the image that I'm using is just a 74 by 74 pixel profile image that I've grabbed and included in that particular message post. Basically, you have total control over the look and feel of this message and can play around with it and experiment it to your heart's content. So for instance, at the moment, I've just got black text and the link bit is in blue. I could change some of this text to red, which would really make it pop, because we're not used to seeing red text in a Facebook style messenger. And just experimenting with little tweaks and little changes like that can really help you to get people clicking through and going to that offer. Now, we're already putting something in front of people here on a page that they're used to looking at and checking out because it's someone getting in touch with them. So if you can make sure that it's not only getting their attention, but they're actually going to it and clicking on it, they're going through to the offer that you're promoting. Now, if I scroll on down, you'll see there are a couple more settings that we have available here. So first of all, a delay before the pop-up is shown. Now, take a moment or two to think about this. Don't immediately go with a really short time like I have here. I've got 2 seconds on this because I've been using it for demonstration videos. You're better off probably going for a longer period of time. Now, think about it this way. If you're already using the ad bar, the action bar that appears at the top of the page, that you've probably got set to appear 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, something like that, after someone hits your page for the first time. If this pops up at the same time or really close to it, then you're kind of taking away the power of both. You're diminishing what you're actually trying to achieve. So it's better instead to have a longer time set for this. Give the action bar a chance to do its work and get people clicking through on that, and then have this pop up a while later, let's say something like 32 seconds or 22 seconds, so that you know people have been on your site for a while, they've been reading the content, then this pops up with a message, catches their attention, and again will lead them through to click on that link for your offer. Remember, with the Ultimate Ads plugin, you're adding 4 separate income streams to your blog. So don't have them all fighting with each other and competing with each other. Separate them out, have them staggered so that they enhance the opportunities and give you more chance to grab that commission from your visitor. And then, like the action bar, we have options where you can specify how long it is before that message reappears to the same visitor based on whether they've closed it or not and whether they go to other pages. And again, you can leave it to 0 or just set it to a number of hours. And again, like the action bar, the ad bar, you have the opportunity to decide where the pop-up messenger appears. At the moment, I've got it set to everywhere, so on all my pages and posts. but I could target it to just the front page, individual posts by putting the post ID in here, specific categories, or all categories, or just the category page. Again, we're trying to give you ultimate control over where this appears. You may want it appearing on the same pages as your ad bar. You may want it on different pages to your ad bar. You have control over that and decide where it appears on your blog. So let's click on Save Settings and move on to the pop under. Okay, so here we are on the pop under page for the settings for the fourth part of your Ultimate Ads plugin. And the first setting is simply whether the pop-up or the pop under is active and running or not. So choose no if you don't want it running, leave it on yes if you do. Now with the URL, I've popped in a domain and I'm popping up a full-on sales page. So it's quite in your face for the visitor. You don't need to be that in your face. You could set up a small ad page that just pops up a little message that is specifically relevant to your niche or your blog. It does depend on how in your face, in your visitor's face, you want to be with this message. It can be a very strong message, but on that basis, it can also put some visitors off. So I would highly recommend that you make sure it is a very congruent, very relevant, very targeted message that you're displaying to people, because it is popping up in a new browser window. Depending on which browser they're using, sometimes it pops under, sometimes it pops on top of their existing window. And on that basis, this is one where, in our experience, it works far better if you actually target it either to a specific category or indeed to individual posts, rather than having it pop up whenever someone hits your site or goes to any page. At the moment, I've got it set to everywhere simply for demonstration purposes so that it pops up straight away. But again, in our experience with testing, it is going to be more effective if you narrow it down to a specific category or individual posts where the offer and page that you're popping up is highly targeted to that particular content. I also highly recommend that you experiment with it. Try it with different offers and different pages. If you get it right, you'll be amazed at just how effective this is. If you get it wrong, you'll know because it's not actually doing anything. You've got to find that congruency. You've got to find an offer that resonates with the content that the visitor's on, something that is highly targeted for the niche that you're in. Get it right and you'll be very, very happy with the results. Okay, so that's a run through of how your WP Toolkit Ultimate Ads plugin works. And we hope you experience the same kind of amazing results that we get using these income streams on our blogs. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, if you have any ideas that you want to share with us, please feel free to get in touch via the support desk. We are always interested in hearing your feedback, and especially any wonderful, interesting ways that you come up with of using the plugins. Thank you very much for watching.